Morning.
Been here for so long. Well, I was hiking in Yellowstone. Good morning. It was nice.
Hopefully you didn't step off any of the boardwalk.
No, I did not step
there's,
off any of the boardwalks.
Yeah.
And we didn't
Morning,
see
Selena.
any bears.
Hi,
but we
Selena.
see bears. We saw
Hi.
bears, yeah.
Does that work? Can you hear us? Oh, boy, that mic is really.
I can hear you pretty well so far. I'm on a laptop that doesn't have great sound, so this is encouraging.
Hi.
How you doing? Well, we can hear you just fine.
You haven't signed the card yet. Go over and the card,
Morning, Jerry.
the card for.
Do it after the meeting.
Very. That's an extra. Oh. You
Oh,
said
there-
not to
there's
worry
a
about it.
savior.
Why, just get rid of it.
Why do I not get into? Oh, no.
Good. Welcome back. My shot yesterday.
You know what is interesting? Once you get like a notch
It's hard to find.
from the
Really? I ended up at Walgreens. You want to compare it to, I probably shouldn't say it in a public thing, but I've gotten all my others at CVS. 15 minutes before your appointment, light comes from red to green, you go inside, there's an arrow. You get to the front of the line, that's your birthday, they say you're on its left hand or right, or left arm or right hand, in, out. You walk into Walgreens, I stood in line for 45 minutes and had an appointment. That was just to check in. Then they had to process my prescriptions.
I don't know.
So,
April,
for a
May,
while.
June, July.
Then, once they gave me the prescription, I went and stood in another line to go get a. It's crazy.
Right, right.
One is operational excellence.
There he is. Let's chart.
But as a result,
It's a very slow process.
well,
How many shots do you get? How many shots do you get?
I just got the COVID shot.
Oh, it's COVID.
I think the market will take care of that.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's a, Mike doesn't seem to.
Why do you think it's not working? Can you guys not hear Dale? Can you hear me?
This one works.
How about now?
That's better.
Can you hear me?
Yes, that's.
Okay, wave hands if you can hear me this morning. All right, thank,
Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me as well?
great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. Thank you all. We'll start with the roll call. Craig Heber.
Here.
Mary Ann Plunder.
Here.
Chris Ronis.
Here.
Ray Rothrock, I see you on Zoom. Thank you, Ray.
Here.
Jerry Sheffrin. Vic Schachter. Bud Trapp.
Here.
Robert Young. Randy True. Okay, having established a quorum, we're going to move on to oral communications. Does anybody have anything to say that is not on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to close the oral communications and move on to, excuse me, approval of the minutes. from September 7th. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are,
Let's see.
okay, thank you. Minutes are approved. Thank you all very much. Town status report. I was told that the town manager was going to attend this morning, and clearly he is not. If we get a town representative, we will circle back to this. Otherwise, I'll give you an update status on what I know later in the meeting. I apologize for this. So we jump right into the CERT wildfire, our Woodside fire item. Chief or Selena? Yeah, we have Selena here.
Yeah, I can't speak on the chief's behalf, but I can tell you what we're doing on our end here. So I just want to start off with that SMC alert test that we had put out last month. I wanted to give you some stats regarding it. So let me just bear with me here. Can you guys hear my cats? Do I need to move them? I hear them screaming.
Nope, we can hear you fine.
Perfect. Okay. So we sent out a total of 6,527 messages.
Wow.
And then emails, we actually sent out 7,222. So that's how many messages went out. And then in terms of the survey that we did afterwards, we had about 1,255 responses from that survey. It was a quick little, 5-question survey, just asking if people got it. From what I gather on here, hold on. The number of people that got it, the number of people that said they didn't get it were only 51 people. So, the people that said no, when I looked at the comments later on down, some of them were out of town, or they received a text but not an email, but then later on when they went and checked their email, they received it. So it seems like it worked pretty well. The only other thing is that it did show that people received duplicate messages. About 130 people of those messages went out. So I'm going to follow up and do a little bit of homework and put out messages on the forum and our other listservs to just remind people that if you did receive a duplicate message, to please reach out to me so I can work with the Department of Emergency Management. They, by the way, I have to say a huge thank you to them. They were walked me along, just making sure I set it up properly the whole way. They've been extremely accessible to me, and it was really, really great to have that. Do you guys have any comments regarding that test? No?
Any question, how does Portola Valley stack up in the number of people compared to the total?
I don't have that specific number on me immediately. I'll have to go back and get that number for you, but I'll make a note of it and I'll send an email out to see what the numbers are between Portola Valley, unincorporated, and Woodside. And then also too, next on board, I just wanted to say, and I know you guys are probably going to talk about this, but I came back from vacation and the following day was the town picnic, and the turnout was great. I just want to say that Patty Dews does an excellent job organizing the event, and it was so wonderful to see all the volunteers there at all of the committees. I got to talk to several people, and I thought it was a successful event. Obviously, we can improve every year, but I wasn't able to attend last year. So it was really nice because this is one of my favorite events to go to. So thank you to everybody who showed up there and participated and helped out. Third on here, we have our CERT training going on, and we're about halfway through. We have between 10 and 11 people signed up, which is manageable for us because, you know, we're still up at 19, trying to figure out how we make that work as best as possible before we can get back into station 7. And our last skills day is again on Sunday, October 22nd. And we have a few people that are coming in to do a refresher as well. So if any of you have taken CERT and it's been a while and you want to refresh on your skills, you are more than welcome to join us on that last day. You know, it's the morning half is all just skills review, and then we do the exercise in the afternoon. So just reach out to me. We would love to have you, especially, you know, the previous students can kind of sometimes offer a little more assistance to the newer people that come in. It's just a great training experience and to engage with our new volunteers. Another big thing is we just placed the order for the first aid kits that we had created. So those bright orange bags, the order has been officially placed. I believe we ordered 100. They are almost all spoken for. So if this goes to plan, we will end up ordering another 100 because there seems to be a big desire for them. The price went up a little bit just because we changed some things around, and we just had to we had to raise the price. But we said if people pre-order, so they go on there, pay the money, we will give them a discount of $20 to bring it back down to that original cost of $145. So look out for that post, just saying to get your pre-ordered first aid kit before the sale ends for that. Also too, this is a really big news. We have 3 new co-chairs for the Ready Committee. So we have Leisha Maines, John Middleman, and Patty Dews. So they are extremely motivated. It's nice to be able to step back and let them, you know, guide and lead the way and have their own ideas about what they want to do with the program. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to come of it. And let's see, the only other thing I have to offer here is that next week is Fire Prevention Week. So, and it's all around cooking safely. And so expect to see me at the farmer's market on Thursday, pushing my messages. And we'll be back into the schools teaching fire safety as well. So any questions for me?
Chair doesn't have any. Any other questions from the committee? Any other questions from the audience for Selena while we've got her?
I see Christy.
Oh, Christy's hand is up. Go ahead, Christy. Thank you.
Hi, Selena. Thanks. Just wondering if you can put the alert on the bottom of the sheriff's alerts. So lots of questions on one member of the family may have the alert, but how do we sign up the rest quickly? Because that was a little alarming to get, you know, the 4 burglaries in one night and what happens next. So are you able to help with that at all?
I can, if you want to reach out to me, and I can try to work with the Department of Emergency Management, because that's kind of, you know, the sheriff's side of it. So I'm not really involved in that. And that was a little startling too to me to see that on there. So I would take any feedback you have and pass it on gladly to the Department of Emergency Management.
Okay, thank you. And I think the town picnic just went really well. And thanks for anything you did to help with that.
Yes. Oh, by the way, did everybody get that FEMA alert yesterday?
Yeah.
Was anybody startled by it?
Yeah.
Well, it came earlier than we thought, right?
Yeah, it came like a couple minutes early on mine, and I was like looking at my phone constantly, and I have 2 phones now, so it really startled me. Okay, great. That's all I have. Thanks.
Hey, Chief.
Yeah, thanks, Selena. And I want to say thank you as well for everybody participating in the town picnic. Selena, our on-duty crews, our fire fuel mitigation crews, all did a great job. Thank you very much for taking care of that. And yeah, that alert startled me yesterday. I was talking on my phone in the car and it was too loud. Yeah, so just giving you the report for the month, as far as wildland season from the state, as of last week, I think, throughout the state, there's about 275,000 acres burned throughout the state so far. Good suppression was being made with the weather changes. Most of those fires were all started because of lightning strikes that occurred weeks and months prior to that. All our crews are back. We did have one person that was out on a 12-day deployment as a single resource paramedic, helping up in the Northern California fires, but he has since returned. As far as the district, I do have a big announcement to make for us operationally. We are going through a change. Over the last 24 years, we've provided worked with a partnership with AMR, American Medical Response, in providing 2 paramedics to transport. Originally, when that started out for us, it was more of we wanted to bring up our paramedic program. We worked in conjunction with AMR. They provide the ambulance, we provided the personnel. Over the years, we've gone through multiple negotiation contracts with AMR. We've determined now that it's best to bring our employees back to our district. So we are basically terminating our transport agreement with AMR. What that means for us and our district is we'll be bringing back our 2 paramedics to actually work on our district apparatus, upstaffing one of our paramedics to bring better service to our district. What that means as far as the transport side, we're still going to have an AMR ambulance here in our district from AMR. It'll just be a white ambulance, not a red ambulance. Yeah, due to operational and financial happenings, it's better for us to come this way. We couldn't negotiate what we wanted with AMR, so it was best to bring this back to our district. So that's a great positive change for us. Our squad that we have staffed with 2 people will now be 3 people. That'll provide an extra paramedic on that resource, as well as giving us another paramedic on another resource. And with that, we'll be able to do more things. We'll be more apt to have more fire prevention, more wild woolly stuff going on in our district that we can prepare for. So that's a big change for us. That's going to take effect December 1st. We've been working with AMR through the logistics of the change, and there's no hard feelings with the breakup there after 24 years. There was 3 other fire agencies that started this 24 years ago, and they lasted 2 to 3 years before they found out it wasn't financially and logistically proven to work for them. For us, we wanted to keep it going as long as we could, and finally we had to break that. Let's see, what else do we have? Our Fire Academy recruits just finished their MPE. We have 2 people that will be graduating in December. And then, yeah, as you all know, Kim Giuliani will be our new fire marshal. She is starting to shadow Dawn this month, so she'll take over until Dawn leaves. And let's see, we had September 1st, we had 4 probationary firefighters successfully complete their 2-year probation. And other than that, we have some promotional testing going on for battalion chief and captains coming up the rest of this month. That's all I have. You guys have any questions?
Actually, I have a question regarding AMR.
Yeah.
As I have some experience. First of all, it's a pity you guys are really good. I want to say that. Yeah. Is AMR, will that white ambulance be coming from further away then?
No, they actually, because of their requirements through LEMSA and through the county, in their contract, they have to meet certain time standards within each zone of the county. And they will, right now, every time our ambulance is here and goes to a call, let's say, so our ambulance just doesn't go to a call here in Woodside Fire District. We go throughout the county. It's a system-based ambulance. And that's part of the problem is our ambulance is only responding to 65% of the calls in our district. Other than that, it's going as far as Daly City to go to call. So it's leaving our district to go, run calls in other areas. So when that happens, they move an ambulance up here to cover our district. What they're going to do is keep an ambulance here. As December 1st starts, an ambulance will be in our district, just like our ambulance was. But it's a system-based ambulance.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So just because I just got a bill and it's $5,000 to transport somebody from my house to Stanford.
Right.
Are they the only provider? Is there
They are contracted with San Mateo County to provide EMS services. Yeah.
Thank you.
The RFP will be up in about 5 more years. So then they'll go out to an RFP for a new provider if somebody else wants to go. Yeah, that's it. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chief.
Morning.
Don, good
How are
morning.
you? Good. I just wanted to make an announcement and let everyone know that the district is planning an emergency evacuation tabletop drill. That'll be on October 18th. We've invited a lot of our command staff from the fire district, CAL FIRE, the Sheriff's Office, Department of Emergency Management, San Mateo County Fire Safe, as well as both town managers, assistant manager, planning director, and EOC staff from both towns. So far, we have a lot of the law enforcement, fire personnel that have responded. I've had zero communication back from the town, and I would think that they would at least send somebody to represent the town if the members that we invited could not make it. It's an important community safety event, and I would expect that somebody would come from the town to represent. So what I've done is I've invited 2 members from this committee to participate in the event that the town doesn't send anybody. And it's going to be a scenario where there's a chain drag on the Alpine corridor that sparks a fire at Golden Oak, and it'll run through Alpine Hills, and it'll get into the Westridge area. And then, so our partners with Flame Mapper, who did the hazard and risk assessment for the town, along with AI from Ladris, they'll have one screen in the room that will be showing the fire modeling as it progresses through the neighborhood and the community. And on the other screen, as we evacuate different zones, you'll start to see the traffic modeling and how that reflects on that screen. So just wanted to let you know we're having that event on October 18th. 2 members from this committee. I'm sorry I couldn't invite everybody, but we just didn't have enough room. So I wanted to make sure that we had some town representation there.
And where will that tabletop be?
That'll be at Station 19 training room.
Got it. Thank you.
And then I've invited Rob Young and Dale Fowl.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Any questions for Don? Well, we've got him.
I actually have something to add that I forgot
Oh.
to mention.
I'm sorry, Selena, I didn't see your hand. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. I just wanted to come in there. I forgot to say a huge thank you to Jerry Sheffrin for organizing the Zots to Tots. I always get it confused. CERT coordination. So we had several CERT members out there. Jerry can speak on it because he was involved in it, but I wanted to just say thank you, Jerry, for thinking of that and giving our CERTs a chance to practice with each other and with the radios.
Great. Thank you, Selena. I'm sure we'll talk more about that when we get to the town picnic report. Okay, any other comments from the public, questions from the public? Okay, moving on. Item number 7.
Oh, I had a
Evacuation.
question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Christy.
I live on Old Golden Oak, so what time of day will this all occur?
Oh, it's only a tabletop, so you won't see anything.
I see. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 7, the evacuation plan status. We were quite hoping that Craig Taylor couldn't be here. The mayor was supposed to attend. He also has deemed it, I guess, inefficient for him to be here this morning. So the subcommittee has had some concerns basically about what happened at the town council meeting. Earlier, we were going to ask the mayor what specifically the town council did with the evacuation plan. The minutes, they say they received it. An email sent out by Mary Hufty said they accepted it. And one of our questions still is and the town attorney said, well, they don't normally adopt such things. And our question is legally, since we know that other towns and communities have adopted evacuation plans, what are the specific reasons and requirements for what an evacuation plan requires to be actually adopted by a town. And the other question we have is, going forward, how does this committee interface with what the town council wants to do? It was entirely unclear to me, and I attended the town council meeting, what we need to do to move this thing forward. So I guess those questions will continue to remain unanswered at this point. Any comments from anybody on the EVAC subcommittee or anybody else? Yeah. We have no idea. That's my
Speak
question.
up. We didn't hear that out here. Sorry.
Oh, speak. Ray, Vic asked, is there a difference between the legal definition of accepting and adopting? And my response is, we have no idea. We haven't been told, and we've asked the question multiple times.
So I assume we're going to continue to try and get an answer on this.
Yes, we were hoping we could get an answer today.
'Cause I do think from our committee's perspective, I as one member certainly want to understand what seems to be the distinction here, that's the rub with regard to their full endorsement of the plan.
Yep,
Okay,
I agree. Thanks, Vic.
sure.
Yeah, Dale, I think it is worth pointing out, we've asked this explicitly of Craig Taylor from the very beginning when he first raised the issue, which was a surprise because the other similar emergency plans have been adopted, like the EOC plan, and then adoption was specifically used, that term, in the 7 points, and that the town would adopt an evacuation plan. So we've been sort of blindsided by this issue, and it is becoming just increasingly bizarre that we can't get any kind of substantive answer. And if the questions I had for the mayor were going to be, if there's an attorney-client privilege issue, it would be important that that legal information be communicated among all town council members, and the informality with which Craig had mentioned it, stated that he asked the town attorney seemed inappropriate for something of this magnitude. But then, I mean, the response that he had around that was really concerning in terms of a budget issue, or that we were being demanding. So this is really the fact that this is still out there even after, I think this is the 4th, 5th meeting where it's been requested, I think politely, I think formally. So, it was really, our question for the mayor was, what is going on?
So, Dale, if I might, I think what, and this is probably just an add-on to what is implied in your comments. If it's not adopted, what is it that it's not getting by way of support is key to me, and I suspect to everybody else on this committee. What's absent from their accepting a report versus adopting it?
Well, from the minutes, they didn't even accept it. The minutes that they accepted, say they received it. So, and we're not going to get the answer here. So we will continue to work on this. Okay.
Can I just put a thank you out? This plan was heavily helped by Woodside Fire. Don Bullard has been pushing this for the last nearly 10 years. And this committee really appreciates everything that Woodside Fire has done to try to make this work for our community. And I certainly am dedicated to try to make it work. I'm mystified right now at what we really need to do. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Rob. I see a comment from Christy. Go ahead, Christy.
Yeah, I am also concerned. I did participate in the emergency evacuation with 250 or 200 residents a couple years ago, and I found it really enlightening. And there was construction at the end of Alpine Road, which was not expected, where we were turning around on the on-ramp. what if construction is happening? And how do we get out with the construction going on? So that's one of my questions. I do want to alert, I did send out a 128-page document that has a traffic report from Mid-Penn Regional Park District. It's of interest because we have evacuation numbers that we've projected through your committee, and I thank you for that, Rob, that all the work you've done on it. We also need to compare the traffic report with Hawthorne's, and I encourage all of you to read it and really utilize the differences, if there is any, which I have not done. But I still think we need a full traffic report on our corridors, because Neely had one, then a small traffic report. Then we had 2017 Alpine Corridor report, which is Ladera to 280. And then we had your report, and now we have Hawthorne's report. We probably have a report from when Wendy Hill parking was done. So somehow we need to pull our whole arterials, tributaries, corridors, numbers together and compare, because it, so I did send that to our clerk this morning, and I hope you get the 128 Hawthorne's traffic report. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. We'll talk about that a little bit when we get down to the Hawthorne's item. Okay, town picnic report. Jerry. If they can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Ray, can you hear Jerry?
Can you hear me, Ray? I'm going to divide this into two pieces. Basically, the EPC put up a booth at the town picnic that Ray and I manned, and others joined on and off during the few hours. It was kind of helpful, but it was very poorly attended by picnic attendees. It seemed like there were 10 times more kids than there were adults at the picnic, which is nothing wrong with that, but there were only, I would say maybe 3 or 4 at most people who came up to talk about APC, and we were able to give them information, and I think that was useful, but it was a little disappointing with the turnout. The other part of the report was mentioned by Selena, and that was the opportunity to participate with communications for the Zatstatats race that was organized essentially as a CERT exercise, not an activation. I think we had a total of 8 CERTs with radios at different intersections, reporting back to net control, which was Ray at the town center along with Mark. We learned a tremendous amount. The practice was very, very worthwhile from a number of points of view. I think we all agreed that we learned a lot and that we need to practice a lot more. So that's my report.
Thank you, Jerry. And my thanks for heading that all up, because I couldn't be there. So that was great. Any questions from the committee on town picnic?
Yeah, Jerry, this raises the question of whether we need as a committee to do more PR work that generates more of a response from the community. I don't know if the absence of response at the committee at the various events, which has been pretty consistent, I think, over the events in prior years, reflects just an ignorance about what we do, which I think has the community welfare, not just a question of credit for the committee, but poses a bit of a problem. I'm reluctant to raise this because I cannot volunteer for it right now in terms of my schedule. And I know what the tendency of this committee is. At least not now I can't, because I'm going to be away for a while. But I really think we ought to give some thought to this and maybe put, I don't know, as an agenda item, Dale, next time, or however you feel is appropriate. But this goes back also to Ray's work on the communications and the times we've learned that the community isn't aware of the extent of which we have a communications network, which Ray has very nicely addressed now in some subject communication. So I just raised this. If it resonates with some of you, I think we ought to be considering something to better communicate what this committee does so the residents can avail themselves of it.
I'm going to send that over to our marketing and communication committee, Randy and Mary Ann, to discuss and maybe bring back some ideas of how we. It's been an ongoing issue. I mean, I've been to the town picnic for years, and if we get a half a dozen people, come by the booth, that's great. One year I walked around the whole place handing out magnet stickers, and that's how, you know, we got some interaction, but it is what it is. So we need to deal with the constraints we've got and try and get our message out. So thank you, Vic. And again, thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Ray, for.
Dale, can I just offer, and I've been at the booth every year for, I don't know how many years, over 10.
Yeah.
And the people that come and are most interested are always new residents.
Yeah.
And Jerry and I had a young couple move to town, very interested in what's going on, but that's always the case.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. I just also want to do a shout out to the fire department. We moved the communications trailer to Station 8 on Friday afternoon. They've had a greatly prepared place. Everybody knows this, but we had power. We stood it up. We used it for part of the CERT drill. We had 15 radio operators from the CERT group, including some hams as well as CERT trained people. So there was a lot of interest and participation at that level. And it was way more than and Jerry and I were sort of like, oh boy, we're going to be running around like chickens with our head cut off, not being able to cover. But we covered the whole race, and it was great. So Mark and the CERT group did super. Jerry organized all of it with Ed Holland, who was sort of the calm guy on the picnic side. It was great. So thank you.
I have a suggestion. Like I said, I'm going to be at the farmers market. The town has a booth there that's kind of dedicated to, town various different subjects. And like next week, I'll be there promoting Fire Prevention Week. I think it would be good to do something, if regularly, not every week, but maybe once every couple of months where they go there and you guys promote what the EPC has done and what they're planning to do and get suggestions from the community, as well as, having somebody there representing like WPV Ready, like myself or CERT. So kind of have a joint little booth there, because we do get a lot of people at that farmers market. We get a lot of parents with their family and kids. And I think that's kind of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I second what you mentioned. I think we need to do that. Regarding the town picnic, though, I remember probably 20 years ago, the town picnic was a humongous event. And because it was a big event, the fire department was there with the fire truck. And well, they didn't have a Dalmatian, but that was a big draw that the fire department was there and the kids could be on the truck. And so there was more interest. So while we as a committee need to do more communication, the picnic in itself is just something that is an event that has consistently gone down over the years in attendance. And then of course we also have less attendance on our booth.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. One thing, Selena, I know we had some cards with QR codes that linked the various things the committee has done to the evac plan, to the comm plan, to the AM radio. And maybe we can get some of those to you to just put on your booth there for the Thursdays. You're muted, Selena.
Sorry. I've made like a, ledger size laminated poster with graphics and like for this with an arrow pointing to a QR code. So people just walk up, they see it, it's right in your face. And people can just scan it. It was super easy. I think that would be great. And then one other thing that we might consider for the town picnic is inviting more of the sheriffs kind of specialized, the SWAT team, you know, like other agencies that are still part of our of San Mateo County that may be able to bring bigger toys and draw more attention. Like we did on the safety day several years ago, pre-COVID.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Selena.
Mhm.
Okay, having no other comments, we're going to move on to the AM relocation status. Ray, you want to jump in real quick? You're muted, buddy.
Yep. Here we go. Just looking at that list above, the town manager did sign the FCC letter, the STA it's called. We submitted our license to run at full power from the location. Check. We have scheduled October 18th. Howard is going to get a scissor lift on that day for us to go and modify the mast, which is there at Town Center, so that we can install the high performance antenna. So I'm excited by that because that'll complete the whole process. The modification of the land, I've been talking about this for months, and I talked to Carrie at the picnic, and she was unaware of the change of the AM radio location, and the land has not been upgraded to the best of my knowledge. It's a really simple procedure. I could have easily done it, but they have some rules about citizens accessing the land. I find that pretty silly, all things considered. So that's what's going on the AM radio. So I hope by the end of October, we are completely finished with that, subject to getting the land modified for message updates, when remote message updates. That's what we're trying to get solved. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Ray. Yeah, just so this committee knows how important getting that land updated is, the AM radio has the ability for the message to be updated remotely. So someone can, if they have internet, can go in and update the message. Various people know how to do that. Carrie Chin, Ray, Chris, myself. Unfortunately, if the LAN in the town center is not configured properly, we can't do that. The only way you can update the AM radio right now is to take a little memory stick, record it on your laptop or your computer, take it over and physically plug it in to the AM radio, which is in the comm room of the town center. This clearly defeats the purpose of having an AM radio, because if there is an emergency, the odds of someone being at town center to update that message are relatively low. So we've been asking folks in town to update the LAN for several months now, right? Correct?
August. We started in August when we started the whole process.
I think I alerted them before that.
Yeah, maybe, but it's I don't understand the reluctance. Before, when the radio was at the town, we had this capability. Then we moved the radio. Now we're moving it back. Like I say, it's not like it's a huge bureaucratic thing. It's a very easy 5-minute technical fix.
So
that
anyway.
I could. So.
Okay, thank you, Ray. We will continue to work on that. And
yeah,
again, it's somewhat disappointing we don't have a town representative here today.
Can I just make one comment? I think what Ray just discussed and what we have talked about is that we're having a lot of trouble getting the town and the council to sort of develop a sense of urgency around certain important things related to emergency preparedness. And I have to give the town a lot of slack. They're in a bit of a crisis mode right now, so I don't want to step on them as they try to rebuild. But at the same time, there's some pretty small things that don't require, a vote of the town council that actually can improve the safety for the town. And I just don't know how to get that sense of urgency across. I have a big concern about the inability for the town right now to set up an EOC. If we had a massive earthquake tomorrow, I don't think there's anybody working for the town who has any idea about that software program. All those people are probably gone. There's nobody that really, maybe other than Howard, who sort of understands some of the protocols, and Howard doesn't live in the town. So at 2 a.m, he's not going to be there. We've got 2 or 3 people on this committee who I think were trained at one point, but probably need retraining. But we can't just say there's an emergency not going to happen until we're ready for it. We've got to sort of push this sense of urgency along and get some decisions made. Just my thought.
Thank you, Jerry. Nice. Thank you.
Point noted. I would suggest I have sent multiple emails to multiple people. I would suggest other committee members may want to do the same.
Yeah.
To stress the importance of these issues.
This
Some are
doesn't
trivial.
require, as was said, this doesn't require an act of Congress. It just is a matter of
Yeah.
somebody prioritizing it.
And I agree with Jerry. This has been on my hot button list since the beginning of the year. We put it on the goals for this year. I mean,
Right.
realistically, our EOC plan is outdated, but even worse than that, as Jerry said, we couldn't execute if we had to. Real quick.
Yeah, addressing this, I think we're seeing some real systematic dysfunction in just basic operation of town matters. Karen revealed some of the problems on the finance side, and I think these need to be addressed at a real core level in terms of having accounts transferable, having systems in place that have redundancy for personnel and that anticipate personnel changeover. And I've been running organizations for a few years, a nonprofit and a public benefit company. We're rebuilding aspects of that, getting some foundations in place in those foundations. So I've been experiencing the pain of these same problems, and the town has the resources to fix these problems, but we don't, as of yet, see the concerted effort to do it. So I think committees like ours and others that can point to some of the specifics, particularly as we have the new town manager coming on board to address these, because this does have impact on our committee's work on public safety, on the financial aspects, on important policy initiatives, housing, all of it. It's all, there are just so many intersecting problems and dysfunctions. I think it's a good time to address them at a core level. And we mentioned this before in terms of project management and prioritization of tasks and having transparency around that. The town needs to reestablish basic governance, basic methods of transparency and accountability through staff, through leadership. So.
Okay, thanks, Randy. Okay, we're going to go on to the next item. Item number 10, deal with this quite quickly. This continues to go back to the town's non-support of EPIC CERT. I brought this up to everybody on the town council. As of now, I've spoken about it at town council meetings. And I think Selena is planning to do a presentation, hopefully sometime soon, to the town council about the importance of supporting CERT and EPIC. Any questions on that item before I move on to item 11? Item 11, we're going to leave this here. This is, again, just awareness. Ray wrote a very nice paper. I think we got it on the website. I think we have a link to it. So this is just awareness. We need to continue to raise awareness in the town of what we have available and what has been done over the past decade. Okay, item number 12. I don't know if there's any progress here or not, Jerry.
So far, I've not been able to reach the CEOs of all the wireless communication companies. So I will report back later when I finally get to
them. Thanks, Jerry. Item 13, Craig,
Yeah, so I'm kind of new to this entire process, but, so what I was thinking, this is about the AM radio signs and radio station signs. Lynn and I did a bit of research, and I think what we've come up with is some preliminary recommendations that we would like to express to the EPC in large and get some feedback and comments. I don't know if those recommendations would go forward to the town council, straight away, because there's maybe a few things that we should discuss. So the recommendations that we've come up with is to install two signs at two existing locations, one here at Town Center and one further down Portola Road, that would look much like the existing signs. In other words, the same kind of appearance, font, made out of wood, etc. And the idea, let me back up just a little bit. I think the idea is we have this wonderful resource, this AM radio, that is known about through several different media, but isn't, out there readily available just like at a sign. So I think that's what this is really about. And then as far as the message on the sign, we would recommend something that's very common. So far, our wording is community and emergency info is available on AM radio 1680. And again, I think that probably needs to be looked at to get some idea about, well, what should that message be, verbatim. So that's where we are. Looking for comments and feedback.
I think from my understanding, what has been thrown back to us by various people is if we come up with a concrete, like a picture of a sign, the explicit places we want it, bring it to committee, we talk about it, and if it's a recommendation of the committee, then it would, I think, would have to go to ASCC. Yes. And then it could be sent on to the town council. If my understanding is correct. Now, if Craig were here or if the mayor were here, we would get that defined, but that is my understanding for the moment. So if at the next meeting, you can come up with some, concrete pictures or mock-ups that this committee could then vote on. Yeah.
Why isn't there a, consider a sign at the corner of Portola and Alpine? That's also very, not all the people run down Portola Road all the time. We've got two signs on Portola Road and nothing on Alpine. I think that's a major intersection. And we have the corner itself is real part of our property, town property.
Yeah, our thinking at the time was to add something to an existing sign. So I'm not familiar with is there already a sign there?
No, I don't know, but I'm just saying we're going to have these important signs.
Yeah.
That's another good important place.
Agreed. Understood. Chris?
I was going to make the same point that I think it's really important not to double populate one side of the town and ignore the
Okay.
Alpine Road would be a strong consideration.
Yep. Gary?
My concern is, if you did this, what's the likelihood anyone is going to pay attention? Is anyone going to actually see it and know it? And especially the people who come into town who don't live here, which are hundreds. I honestly think you need a blinking red sign, just like they do. I mean, they had this massive sign about Zots Dots, and somehow that was considered acceptable for the town to have on the road because they wanted people to really know about it. So if we really want town and non-town people to know we have an emergency AM radio station, we have to bang them on the head to get it to happen. Otherwise, we're putting up an art object and not something that educates. That's my concern.
Chris?
Thanks. I've got two microphones. I do agree with you, Jerry. I think it's a good point, but I also think if we just had a sign that every resident passed every day on the way back from the store or on the way back to work or the way back, and it reminded them in an emergency, tune to 1680, I think that would be invaluable. It kind of just makes us imprint in the brain.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be hard to get a blinking red light sign approved.
Yeah, right.
mean,
Okay, I'm
my-
with you.
May I
my-
just make one comment?
Yeah.
It's a very interesting. I've lived here since 1991. I have never, ever seen that sign. So not everybody sees signs on the road, just to let you know. I never saw that sign.
I have a slightly different view. I mean, ASCC may want the nice wooden sign. I in particular am partial to the typical road signs used all over the US for advisory, which are bright blue and white. And I think those would catch more attention than, the nice little wooden sign that says Town of Portola Valley. There is one coming on Alpine Road, and you don't even know where it's at.
Well, I kind of do, but that's beside the point. You're talking about that sign, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
or even the nice signs that took 2 or 3 years to get through ASCC about neighborhood watch. We have the cute little owl on
Yeah,
them.
right.
and I think in part that was our thinking is maybe to do this in stages, something that would get through. Maybe it wouldn't be all that impactful, but it would be a start. So,
Well,
but,
Take
again,
it back, come up with some ideas, we'll
Okay,
bounce it
gotcha.
around, try and figure out what we think. we
Be
can-
bold, though. Have a couple of,
Say again, Jerry?
I say have a couple of bold ones, to throw
Flashing
out.
red lights.
Yeah, I think I understand why you would do that. It's like you can have this or you can have this.
Okay. Christy, please keep it short for, I'm gonna try and get out of here pretty quick.
Yeah, I agree with the blue sign, and I agree that it needs to be on Alpine Road, preferably where all Alpine Inn cars could see it as well. Because if we do it between Arastadero and Portola Road, you lose the education of those 100 cars in there.
Dale, I
Great.
had a quick outside the box idea. Thinking about the large sign, you could do it as a campaign where you take down this big flashing sign when we hit 95% of people who respond saying they know how important the AM radio is. They have one. They know to tune in for updates on under any emergency, and people can do that really quick. There could be some peer pressure to do that. There could be a party and at Alpine Inn or here we could have some in addition to taking down the sign. I think having a goal and having to motivate people to respond to, even if it takes, have a link to battery powered AM radios that they can buy on Amazon. Just make it easy for people to take the steps and then reward the community for getting up to a certain level.
Come back with a proposal. I think this committee is open to almost anything. Bud?
A digital sign that changes as we need it changed.
I think that would also be more challenging
Oh, I
to get
know.
through ASCC.
I'm sure of that, but still, it'd be important.
Let me just, last comment here, just a suggestion that we consider both approaches, sort of a temporary, let's get the blinking sign, the same one that we use for Zox and Tots.
Yeah.
Once a year during safety month or during the and everybody of the emergency radio and how to tune it. But we also need the blue and white signs that every day as you drive past.
Yeah.
remind people.
Gary's on the call. Maybe I can get Gary to put out the sheriff's thing with the AM radio on it. Talk to Gary. Okay, any other comments before we move on? Great. Item number 14 on the Hawthorns. Last time we were here, Karen Vatra gave us a nice chat about what's going on at the Hawthorns. Since then, Karen Askey has been in touch with me, and there is an ad hoc committee that was created by the town council, which contains other committees, but not the emergency preparedness committee, to try and get input from the town to feed back into this whole situation that's going on with the Hawthorns and the various reviews and so on. And so I think, and I'll let Karen talk to that in a minute, but I think the request from us would be willing to be part of the ad hoc committee whether we were specifically appointed or even informally just to attend their meetings to give our input primarily on evacuation and placement of the parking from the Hawthorns. My opinion is I think it's a great idea. We need someone from this committee who'd be willing to jump in and work with Karen Askey and indirectly through Karen Batra, who's actually on the Mid-Peninsula Working Group. So I'm going to open that up. Hey, Marianne.
Actually, that shouldn't be difficult. The same thing was discussed last week in the Conservation Committee.
Yeah.
And the chair of the Conservation Committee is joining that committee. So I see no reason if you reach out and say X person, you'll be on that committee.
Okay. Do we have a volunteer from the committee who'd like to do this?
Actually, I'll do it.
You'll do it,
Yeah.
Marianne? Okay, great. So we have someone who will jump in from the EPC. And just so you know, Marianne, the last meeting you weren't here, but Craig Heber is going to be our point person to work with the Ladra software to start understanding traffic modeling. And so, you know, once you get an idea of what you think is going to happen, then Craig can maybe help on you know, defining some of that. And I see Karen Batra at the microphone. Go ahead, Karen.
Quick public comment. The Bicycle Pedestrian Traffic Committee is kind of doing a similar worry that you are with just traffic on a daily basis, not necessarily during an evacuation. And they are also concerned with egress, ingress, and trying to shift perhaps that to Los Trancos Road entrance, the 900. There are 2 gates there today. So they are probably going to have a special meeting in the next month to discuss this, as is the Trails and Paths will have a special meeting on Hawthorns next week. So just to let you know that there's kind of, you know, similar, very related concern on the BPTS committee.
Great. Thank you, Karen. And I see Karen Askey has her hand up. Go ahead, Karen. Thank you.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, Karen shared some important information. I just want to share some dates with you so you understand the timeline. And first, the ad hoc committee is a town manager appointed committee, but it's a non-Brown Act committee. And I have sent in a request to Sharif to add some folks to the committee. I have not heard back, but that doesn't preclude Marianne or you know, another committee representative attending our meetings. So that's great. And the next meeting for MidPen for the Public Access Working Group is on October 26th from 6 to 9 p.m. They're going to be presenting what they hope is the final concept, which will also have in it the parking plan and the ingress egress. And they have said that the packet will probably not come out till the 23rd of October. So that doesn't give a lot of time, you know, to comment before the meeting. Our ad hoc group hopes to submit comments in writing that represent town concerns by the 19th of October. And we encourage everybody to go to the meeting, whether they're representing a committee or they're representing themselves as a resident on that. And after that, mark your calendars for December 16th, because there'll be a site tour where they hope to cover the final plan that they've come up with. And then, you know, there might be some modifications and such. And on February 29th of 2024, they will be voting on the final plan that would go to the MidPen PNR committee and board. And from there, it goes to the town, our town. So we're hoping to get all input in initially, so we don't end up in a situation where we're not aligned with MidPen. One of the things that I've noticed is that the traffic studies that they've included seem to be fairly dated. So I really want, and as Karen mentioned, the parking right now they're looking is along Alpine Road, the ingress, egress, and such, and they aren't looking at the Los Trancos side. They've bifurcated what they call the historic district out of this first piece. This is something where we need to, if we feel that we want an entrance on Los Trancos, that we need to advocate for it now before they complete the plan. And I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'll get in touch with Marianne about our future meeting dates. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Thanks.
Yeah, actually, because I've heard the same thing about the entrance, and I know that whole property very well. Do you know why they are not considering the old entrance and putting a parking lot there?
I don't, that's a really good question. It's something that our committee is actually questioning. Karen Vatra might be able to speak more to that, but I think that by the entire property is 79 acres, but MidPenn is piecing this into two projects, and one is 66 acres, and that doesn't include the historic property, which is that old building off of Los Trancos and, you know, former stables and such. And so they have 13 acres that they've portioned off for that. And therefore, since that's on that side and they're not doing that now, I think that's part of the reason they're not looking at parking over there. And I believe there are some visibility issues that they think are of concern. I'd like to throw that to Karen Vatra.
Yes, the there's two entrances on Los Trancos. And the one right at the historic complex is not as generous for visibility. There's a second one that has a nice gate. I think it's 900 Los Trancos. And that one, the sight lines are not perfect. So the traffic study indicates, if you look at one of the many reports, the traffic study indicates that it's not as safe to make a turn. So that's a valid concern. So that's the stated reason. But I did look at some other parks to see how the entrances and exits were out of different entrances, out of, you know, sightlines. And in about 10 years ago, when Mendigo Hill, which is part of the Russian Ridge Preserve up on Skyline, they opened a whole area up there, and that has a pretty bad sight lines if you've ever been out there. And so MidPenn has made has figured out how to work with bad sight lines. And you can mitigate them through CEQA pretty easily by, you know, clearing up some vegetation. In the Mendigo Hill thing, they estimated that the speeds for people arriving were slower than the road allowed. But you could also just put a sign, you know, so people see that, you know, entrance ahead, so that there was awareness that this was happening. So I think we have some valid arguments that we could move it to Los Trancos. But
you
there
know,
will be, you know, who knows what will happen, but that's that.
I'm going out of order. Oh,
Sideline is not a safety issue. It's an issue that you won't find it.
No, sightline means when you're coming out of an entrance, can you safely make a left turn or right turn and see well enough?
Go ahead.
You know, I want to, yeah, I'm sorry. I wanted to add something else too, which is, I think it's our responsibility to make sure that Midtown understands about all the future development that is being planned along that stretch of Alpine Road between like Portola and Hawthorns, and that's a potential choke point when it comes to if there's overflow parking or there's some sort of evacuation that we need. And so my concern is not just looking at existing things today, which I think MidPenn is, and may not know holistically everything happening in the town, but also looking to the future of what's going to be happening because of all that development. So I just wanted to add that in, that I view emergency preparedness as really owning that whole evac plan as, you know, as we move forward into the future with traffic and such. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. We have one other comment. I see Christy, your hand is up.
Yes, thank you. I do know that October 26th, they will be talking about trails, number of trails, length of trails. Right now, there's one trail, 1.2 miles. there's some talk of, is the full land being utilized? Do we, I know I hike 3 miles, so I'd have to go 3 times around that trail. And then I am concerned about parking ingress and egress because there's a downhill slope from Roberts down to Los Trancos. And they're talking about putting possibly 20 cars to the left of the driveway, 20 cars to the right, which equals 40 total. So I know that that was said to me by one of the 3 engineers that is planning parking. I asked about trees, and the trees, he said, would probably be removed due to safety. So this is a concern of mine. But your time to talk is prior to October 26th or to come to the meeting on October 26th. Bikers go quite fast there. We've had a lot of traffic incidences at Alpine Swim and Tennis and at Alpine and Los Trancos Road. And I'm concerned about the speed of people coming down that area. In fact, kids go from Corte Madera School down to Alpine Swim and Tennis and stay on this side of the road all the way down where the ingress and egress would be. So I did want to, something that you would be interested in, their traffic volumes were checked at Alpine Road in Westridge, Alpine Road in Nathhorse, Alpine Road, Portola Road, Alpine Road, Willowbrook, Arastadero Road at the town limit. I just think we need to, and then Los Trancos Road and Portola Road north of Wayside. So I encourage you to read quite closely. They have average daily volumes for these areas: Los Trancos, Alpine Road and Portola Road, and Alpine Road in Nathhorst. So, and then they go into a collision study with the sheriff. So these are, we need to be able to compare these, and I agree with to all previous traffic reports, and I agree with Karen Askey that we need to look at the cumulative effects of traffic coming to Alpine Road in the next 8 years with our new RENA cycle of housing. And we are planning, I believe, maybe Rob can comment on this, 1,000 more cars on the road. Is Hawthorne's already aware of this? And then what about overflow? Would overflow go out onto Alpine Road and out to Roberts and out to Willow Commons? How would that affect our evacuation if cars are on the road? And then would the sheriff have the permission to ticket everyone, such as when Wendy Hill and Portola Road? And Willowbrook's had a heck of a time safety-wise when people started on Saturday, Sundays, parking on Willowbrook, and they've come to multiple meetings. The residents have to be concerned getting in and out of their driveways. So would it go up Hillbrook Road, because that's where one of the ingress and egress would be, right across from Hillbrook. There's a gate there. So I just wanted to bring all this up. So really this, on October 26th, they'll be talking about dogs on trails, bikes on trails. We have a pedestrian trail in front. They may want to bring it behind the gate. Well, then the gate closes at dusk. So our gates, we don't have gates on our trails. So trails can't really close, and that would be Trails Committee. But these are things you as individuals, you've been so involved.
Okay, Christy, I'm going to have to ask you to wrap up here, please.
Okay, thank you. Those are my comments. I hope to see all of you at October 26th meeting.
I have a quick question for the fire department, actually, just procedural, about sightlines. Does the fire department has any say in where a parking lot or an entrance is going to be? Do you have any say in this? No, okay, I just wanted to know.
Okay, well, Mary Ann's our representative. Please stay in touch. let me know, Marianne. I might be able to attend the meetings. My calendar's filling up here. And Craig, clearly we need to get you up on Ladris so we can.
Yeah, you know, I'm not that fond of meetings. If you want to go to some meetings, that's fine. What I will do is I'll go over to the town and I'll figure out this membership of the committee. Because I hear different stories.
I've got a list, and you can, I'll reach out to Karen Askey. I'll send you a couple of things.
Yeah, if I
Karen
could,
has
that would be great.
Many of the meetings, many of the committees are having a special meeting just on Hawthorne, so I might suggest that. Thank you.
Yeah, at this point, you know, I'm not going to call a special meeting just for Hawthorns for this committee. We have too many other irons in the fire right now. So, any other comments, questions before I wrap up today? Okay, with that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very, very much for your attendance today.